First and foremost, we want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Rekakwadash, giving double honors to the apostles, elders, the great millstone, tosses truth and rule well. This goes out to the true Hebrew Israelites of the world and Native Americans, Latino Americans, so-called African Americans. This is Asha, Great Millstone, Chicago, along with
Brother Shakal.
Brother Shakal. We just want to come to you with another quick lesson. That Gad was really one of the 12 tribes of Israel. He's part of the tribe. The Native Americans, so-called Native Americans here in America, was part of the 12 tribes. And a lot of people try to downplay that or try not to understand the 12 tribe signs. But right now we're just expressly talking about Gad, and what he brought to the table. So I want to start off. Shalaka, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say because the Gadites, which are the so-called Native Americans, they have a lot of characteristics and a lot of customs that go back to the scriptures. So how is it that they're so close to what basically in doing things that the law, statutes, and commandments say to do, yet they're not the people? If Salaki, we could start with this one. This is Romans 8:16. It says, the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh. So, their spirit, the spirit that they have, is witness that they're the children of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Because only the children of the Lord are gonna move like this, man. I believe if it's not in the same
that witness
in the same in the same chapter, if not another, where it says that do by nature the things that are in the law. This is this is Romans 2:14. It says, for when the Gentiles, which is our Israelite foreigners, the ones that are Israelites but took on the customs of the other nations, it says, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves. So what do? They don't, at that point, when the Native Americans were already here, they lost a lot of knowledge in the language, knowledge in the laws, but yet some things still stuck with them, without them even knowing and losing the knowledge that it went back to the scriptures, yet they were still doing them. Why? Because that's the spirit that they have, man. Only Israelites have that spirit. Why do you think, the so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans are real? We're the only people that's real animated when it comes to the Lord. Nobody else is like this. The church, what are the churches nowadays filled with? With us, man. Not according to knowledge. They're not serving the Lord according to knowledge, but yet in their spirit, they know that there's a true power. It says, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the mean while accusing or excusing one another. And that's another thing. Jake is the only one that has that compassionate spirit. The spirit that, if they do something bad, they'll feel condemned. Like, damn, this is wrong. This is, these other nations don't have it like us, man. So, Gad is of the Israelites because they have those characteristics, man. A lot of quotes come from them. Wise sayings come from them. They kept the land savage. There's so many things that point to them being Israelites, man.
Kind of like he was saying, and that's very powerful. That he mentioned that them keeping the laws, even though they were like us as well, They came over here and they had lost their way, but the fact that, like you said, the Spirit bears witness to the Spirit, and we're just getting some of the characteristics, of Gad, and like you said, their traditions, They was keeping feast days, and like you said, it was just, they got articles about how they were responding and talking to some of the people who were interviewing them. We're gonna grab that out of one of his books right quick, but I want to get this Genesis 49:19. just exemplifying the characteristics of of Israelites. Because like you were saying, the animation, the ceremonial stuff that they often done. You know what I mean? The spirit, you know what I mean? Bear witness to the spirit. They didn't kill animals unnecessarily. They, you know what I mean? They learned how to be one with nature and not against nature. They even showed compassion and helped out Cologne, stupid butt, when they came over here, taught them how to survive the brutal winters. And it was betrayed. So this is Genesis 49:19. And this is just some of the characteristics of Gad. It says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome him at last. And Gad, that word troop, you know what I mean, is what they, is who they are. Let's get that word for troop right quick. Let me get it in interlinear, so you understand the characteristics of it. What they mean is this troop. A band, a division, army. You know what I mean, raiding and stuff like that. But they were a band. They were they was together. You know what I mean. They had one accord. They operated, the right way when they were hunting. You know what I mean? And all the things that they did symbolized them being a troop. And you know what I mean? And they're going to be the last ones to come in. That's why I said they will overcome at last. But, based off of their characteristics and their nature, even though Esau, Edom almost, got them on these reservations now, they're waking up like the rest of Israel's waking up. You know what I mean? They're finally understanding that, okay, these scriptures apply to us as well, because Esau, Edom, and this wicked kingdom over here in America, they've, driven the division and put them on these little little, what do you call it? Little reservations, you know what I mean? Trying to for them to understand who they are, keeping them drunk and misusing them. But now they're waking up, understanding that, they were here before Esau. You know what I mean? And they were practicing the custom of Israelites, and Esau marveled at that. They didn't understand it. So what did they do? Manipulate them and destroy their kindness because of what, the passion that they held for the people. So I can go ahead.
Another point, it says that a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And that troop already overcame Gad. It's all through history how Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, destroyed Gad almost to the point of extinction. If it wasn't for the Lord, he would have done it. Right. So now that part of that prophecy already was fulfilled, but the other part is soon to be fulfilled, which is what? Gad overcoming at the last, which is what? When Yahweh Bashim Yahushai come back and deliver us. Gad is gonna have his revenge, man, as long as the rest of us.
Right. All right, I want to get this other one. This is Deuteronomy 33.
Right, yeah. And another point is that Gad, along with, I believe, is like a couple others or a few others, they are what they call a warrior tribe.
That's right.
That's why even Esau, Edom will tell you, man, they were very tactical when it came to war. That's why a lot of these weapons, Esau names after them, Black Hawk.
Tomahawk cruise missile.
Tomahawk cruise missile, because why? Because they got inspired by Gad.
Right. Yeah, this is some of those war tactics he was talking about. This is Deuteronomy 33:20. And of Gad, he said, blessed be he that enlarged Gad. He dwelleth as a lion and teareth with the arm, with the crown of the head. And he provided the first part for himself, because there in a portion of the lawgivers was he seated and came with the heads of the people. He executed the justice of Yahweh and his judgment with Israel. So this pertaining to the lion is going back to what the Elder Bro's talking about, their war tactics, how they would, sneak up on their prey and to devour them, and they were silent in their deadly attacks, and they were strategic. They weren't all over the place. They did it, the way it was meant to be done. And they, if it wasn't for the guns and stuff that Esau had brought, and the trickery and the chemical warfare, they gave him that smallpox. Esau would have never got the victory. But it was all through this power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that this had to happen to Gad. You know what I mean? As it happened to all of Israel, that we were cast off and scattered through all these nations, and and Yahweh Bashim Yahushai would come to get the final victory. But we just explained to you, Gad is part of one of the tribes. Their nature, their characteristics, and the spirit all tells us that they are part of the lost, part of the Israelites. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it.
Right, it says right there, he teareth the arm with the crown of the head. How they are mighty in battle. It says a portion of the lawgiver was he seated. You know, so hey, that's why they still kept some of the laws. You know, and some of the times they didn't even know what why they were keeping these things. You know, it was just in their spirit, cause their spirit, you know, beareth witness that they are the children of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai.
This is First Chronicles 5. I want to get to Slakia to the points 18. The sons of Reuben and the Gadites and half the tribe of Manasseh of valiant men, men able to bear buckler and sword, and to shoot with bow and skillful in war, were 440,703 score that went out to war. This is among the characteristics with the bow and arrow. You know what I mean? They still maintain these customs today. You know what I mean? Their traditional garbs that they wore back then in Israel. You know what I mean? When they before we came over this land, this is what they were doing. They still do it today. They still walk around with their gear on, honoring the traditions of their forefathers. Which was Israel. Where they came from, and Esau marveled at this because it was unknown to them these customs that these people kept. So they know exactly who they were. Even though they have all the information, they still maintain through their conversation and through some of their writing the history of ancient Israel, and they use that to exercise the protection against Esau Edom. But like you said, with his chemical warfare, the smallpox, and the guns, they were outnumbered. You know what I mean? Got slaughtered, and then Esau and his wickedness killed off their livestock, just wicked stuff that Esau did against Gad. You know what I mean? So, but the Lord, is all through the spirit of power. Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
Yeah, yeah, and right there, one of the things that stands out is what they to shoot with bow, and skillful in war. Everybody knows that the Native Americans were real good with the bow and arrow. Here it is. Esau had guns, and yet they were still fucking them up with just bows and arrows.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You want to grab something else? What was that? You did Romans 8:16, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Second Chronicles 12, I think.
Yeah.
First Chronicles 12.
Yeah, First Chronicles. First Chronicles. Yeah, Salakia. I was looking for. First Chronicles 12:8. All right. This is First Chronicles 12:8. Then straight to the point. And of the Gadites, they separated themselves unto David into the hold to the wilderness, men of might and men of war, fit for the battle, that could handle shield and buckler, whose faces were like the face of lions, and were as swift as the roes upon the mountains.
Hey, there you go. Swift as the roes upon the mountains, real fast, climbing on trees. If they were in the mountains, they knew how to hide and maneuver, pop out, shoot you, hide back again,
Right.
And so hey, who else is that, man? And another thing right here it says faces like lions. Now when you actually look at a face, especially of an older Gadite, they kind of resemble the face of a lion. If you would go online and look at these pictures, you'll see, and you'll get a picture of a lion, you'll see a resemblance, man. All these things aren't just coincidences, man. These were signs that the Lord put on that specific tribe to point them out, and another thing that that really all the tribes that really proves that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans or the Israelites is the curses. Look at Gad, man. The brother just mentioned the reservations, man. They're the only ones that here it is. They had all this land, and now they only have reservations. They don't have anything, man. Why? Because they're under the curses, man. You see, these are all signs to show you, man. Hey, these are the children of Israel, and right now we're touching specifically of Gad, and the Gadites are what? The Native Americans.
Right. Okay. So I'll leave that answer. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. Who else is it, man? And right now we're gonna end it with the scripture, unless the Spirit says otherwise. But this is how they got to this side. Esau wants to say they went through Canada and they just came over here. No, man. The so-called Native Americans, along with the other tribes, besides Benjamin and Judah and some of Levi, and a couple of very small number of Northern Kingdom, hey, they came. The majority of them came to this side, man. And it tells you in Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, man.
Yep. We got it right here. It's Second Ezra 13. I'm gonna start at 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land into the time of what's his name? Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Right. So now when you go to the history, which I believe is in First Kings, it tells you how the Assyrians came and took over the northern kingdom, made them their slaves, but through time, the northern kingdom, keep going,
Yeah, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Right, and when once that happened, you don't really see anything else in the scriptures about Northern Kingdom. If you see other verses after Second Kings with Northern Kingdom, it's because it's going back into history. But after that happened, you don't really see it. Why? Because when they went over there, they were captives, and then after a while, they're like, look, we got to leave the multitude of the heathen. We got to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. We're tired of this, basically. So they came up with a game plan to come to this side. Go ahead.
Right. That they might,
Salakia right there, it says, a further country where never mankind dwelt. Now, back in the day, the known world was what? Over there in the so-called Middle East, because there's no such thing as the Middle East, but in that whole area, And now they knew about the Americas, which weren't called the Americas back then, but they knew about this side of the world, but no man had actually set up shop. No man had actually came here and actually set up a home and started dwelling. What they were used to do in the time of King Solomon, they used to get ships and take them, and just get the resources from this side, and then they'll go back, But the so-called Northern Kingdom, were the first ones that actually came to this land and actually dwelt and made it their home.
Right. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Right. Which is why a lot of them have the customs that go back to the scriptures. When you read a lot of articles, you'll have certain Edomites that were studying them saying like, wow, a lot of this a lot of these characteristics, Jewish people have these characteristics. You see? And obviously, the fake Jews, but hey, who did the fake Jews get it from? The real Israelites.
That's right. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Right. So the Most High made it a way for them to get there. Because I believe through that region to where they left to get over here, you can't, the waters are so crazy, you can't really, travel like that. So the Lord said he calmed the waters down, let the ship go through, and that's how they were able to come over here on this side.
Right. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Azareth.
Or Sareth.
Azareth.
Which it's a compound word, which in the Hebrew it means another land. So which if I'm not mistaken, there's an article where in the Jewish Encyclopedia what tells you that Christopher Cologne how do you say it, tied our Sareth to America. You see? So even in their own books they say it, man.
Right. They exactly. So in their own books, they've confessed the truth without knowing it. You know what I mean? So their own words, what's that scripture? Their own words will fall back on them.
Should fall back upon themselves, man.
Right. Exactly. So this is just us bringing the fact that Gad is actually part of the chosen people, And you can't exclude the 12 tribes. We've been trying to tell people that all along. You can't have the you wishes without the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes is Israel. Simple as that. So for one people to claim that they're the chosen people, where's the 12 tribes at?
Right. Yeah, because every time you'll ask them, they'll be like, "Oh, well, they're not found yet." Well, then how are you in the land? How are you back in the land and you're the real people when the Lord said He's going to bring all His people back in the land?
Precisely.
And everybody's going to know who they are. And, it's not going to be like, "Oh, well, only the Jews, the so-called, only Judah and Benjamin, made it. I don't know about the other tribes." No.
No.
Everybody's going to be there, man.
Okay.
But there's a little part of this book that we have and that we could read. It's called the 10 Tribes of Israel by Timothy R. Jenkins. Which was published in 1883, right? But this is something that he wrote in his book when he was studying the Native Americans. This is a chapter or page 168. This is titled "Their Public Worship." It says, "The short name of the feast is Hatuk Impanah, that is eating by the strong religious and social principle. Impanah signifies, as I am informed, several threads and strands twined together. They assemble 3 nights before the feast. On the 4th night, they eat together. During the intermediate space, the young men and women dance in circles from the evening till the morning. When they meet at night, it is professed to be to gladden and unite their hearts. Before Yohiwa, they sing Yohiwa Shoi, Yohiwa Shu, Yohiwa Shu, Yohiwa Shi, Yohiwa Shi, Yohiwa Shai, Yohiwa Shai with great energy. The first words is nearly in the Hebrew characters. The name, of course, they say Joshua, the name of Joshua or Savior. You see, but they were really saying Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, in other words, Now at that point, either that Edomite heard them wrong, or since Jake was so far, gone from their customs, they couldn't. They lost the true pronunciation of the name. But point is, it's still real close. You see. So you're not gonna tell me that these people are not the children of the Lord? How is it that they were here on the other side of the world, yet they knew the name of the Lord, yet they still kept some of the same customs? You see, it's no coincidence, man. Anything else?
No, that's it. Yeah.
Hey, so with that, hey, just a quick breakdown on the tribe of Gad. There's a lot more information. There's a lot more books. But I believe we hit the point. So hopefully you, brethren, were edified. We're gonna end it by giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Yesharala the Ruel, and salutations to you, Akim, out there in the highways and the byways, preaching His word in truth and in sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom.
And a Baba Ball.
A Baba Ball, baby.